Access Fort Wayne offers reflections of our community. Production facilities provided by Access Fort Wayne are a service of the Allen County Public Library. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting organizations. For more information about creating your own television program with Access Fort Wayne, call 421-1250.
Well, hello there. This is Patty Hunter of Patty's Page. Thank you for coming in and being on my show with me. This is, my guest today is Reverend Dr. Daniel P. May, the Indiana District President of the Lutheran Church, Missouri Synod.
A lot of words.
Lot of words. Oh my. I had to memorize that. It was good. It was good. I'm proud. I'm proud to have you here on my show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Thank you. We're going to be talking about the Lutheran Church and what's happening. This will be aired in January, so we're going to be talking about what's cooking in January. So, first off, were you born here in Fort Wayne?
No, I was actually born up in the South Bend area, South Bend, Mishawaka, a little town called Osceola.
Oh, my.
My dad was a farmer.
Oh, yeah.
And so I actually grew up on a farm in that area.
How long have you been living here in Fort Wayne? When did you move here?
I moved here when I was elected to this position in 2003. Prior to that, I had been serving a parish, a large parish in Lafayette, St. James Lutheran Church.
Oh.
And but when I was elected in 2003, then my wife and I moved to the Fort Wayne area.
Where'd you meet your wife?
Oh, I met my wife in college. When I met my wife, she said, we were both undergrads, and she said, there's two things I would never want to do, and that's to marry a farmer or a pastor.
Guess what?
Guess what? I said, well, I grew up on a farm, and I'm going to be a pastor. And so here we are.
And the Lord does work in mysterious ways.
Yes, He does. Yes, He does.
So how long have you been married now?
This is a tricky question, and not a tricky question. I would say 45 years. That's the number I'm going to stick with.
That's my story, and I'm going to stick to it. That's good. 45 years.
Yeah.
I'll be married about going on 22 next week.
Oh, my, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to... Oh, sorry, Bob. So you were raised Lutheran?
I was raised Lutheran. I was not really born a pastor.
Oh, I know.
I mean, no one born a pastor. But I was raised in the Lutheran Church. I went to church in Mishawaka.
Which church?
Mishawaka, St. Peter's Lutheran Church in Mishawaka.
Yeah. Is that a big place?
It's a moderate. And then I went to a prep school in Milwaukee. And then on to college and seminary. And my first parish, my first call out of the seminary, was to a little town in Mississippi. Mississippi. Natchez, Mississippi, where I learned to eat crawfish, catfish, and hush puppies.
Crawdads and all that. I never been there.
Oh, it's a beautiful place. Magnolias.
Do you say get her done?
No, actually,
that's Nashville.
Yeah, that's Nashville more. This was deep south and
rednecks.
Really culture. It's a very elegant culture in Natchez.
Southern Belle.
Yes, Southern Belle type stuff. Garden clubs. It was a beautiful place, and we enjoyed it immensely.
So, when did you get married again? Many moons ago.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't say it. So how long have you been a pastor again?
I have been a pastor for 40 years.
And a doctor?
A doctor for about 10 years.
So doctorate or?
It's an honorary doctorate degree from the seminary here in Fort Wayne.
So did you go here to the seminary in Fort Wayne or St. Louis?
It was actually in Illinois at that time.
Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And how long? What, took it, 4 years to go through it?
4 years of undergraduate school.
Mm-hmm. And then a vicar?
And then 4 years of seminary, including the vicarage. Mm-hmm.
And where did they send you after that? Here? No?
Well, no, right after I graduated from the seminary, I went to Natchez, Mississippi.
Oh, I just...
Yes, I did.
I'm sorry, my memory, she's not too good. So, how long have you been president?
Since 2003.
Right.
And so I'm into my 10th year.
Coming
into my 10th year. Thank you very much.
So, you like what you're doing?
I do. It's an opportunity to get to know all of the different pastors in the Indiana district. And the Indiana district of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod includes the whole state of Indiana,
right,
and a northern part of Kentucky, down to Lexington and Louisville, and a number of towns. We have about 20 parishes right along the river there and along the southern edge of Indiana that are actually in Kentucky.
Mm.
And so one of the joys of this is seeing the terrific fabric of the churches, different types and styles, whether it's suburban, urban, or rural, old parishes, middle-aged parishes, brand-new parishes, and the diversity of pastors that serve in the church. It's a delightful opportunity, and so I do a lot of traveling.
So, like a not like a circuit, pastor or something like that, or just...
Well, we have in the Indiana district 24 circuits.
Oh.
And so I go to all of those circuits.
To visit them.
I visit those, and I could be in Evansville one day, and Merrillville the next day, and Louisville the next day. Mm. Tomorrow I'm up in Garrett.
Oh, really?
And I'm over in Gary in a couple of
weeks.
Indiana. Gary, Indiana.
What is exactly your duties?
My duties really are called ecclesiastical supervision.
Right.
What that means is supervision of all the pastors, teachers, and church workers, which is about 1,400 people in the Indiana district. Also to encourage and assist the congregations and the church workers in their mission and in their work. And so I'm there when pastors are installed, when buildings are dedicated, when anniversaries are celebrated. And then I also work with challenging situations when congregations aren't getting along so well.
Oh, nothing with politics or anything like that?
Not politics per se, but it's more relational things generally.
Well, I said the wrong word. Shouldn't have said politics.
Well, politics, I suppose, could be part of it, too.
Speaking about politics, what are your views on the HHS mandate?
Well, we're very concerned about that.
Yeah.
Because as Christians, and as Lutheran Church of Missouri Synod Christians, we really see life as God's gift, God's creation. Yeah. And the life in the womb is obviously very tender and very fragile, but also very real.
You know, I find it most disheartening. We are attacking our families from within. It's a silent, to me, it's a silent Holocaust.
Well, in many ways it is, because in the womb, the child has no defense.
That's right.
Has no voice.
Right.
And so some of the recent rulings, which would require church entities, not necessarily congregations, but other church entities, to provide insurance, which would in essence destroy the embryo in the womb, is problematic for us and a conflict of conscience, and we consider it a conflict with the Scriptures itself.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, it's a troubling thing.
Disheartening. And what do you think of the results of the presidential elections? That what will happen for the unborn? Unless
Well, the elections may or may not be a reflection of where the culture is and the whole value of life itself.
Like a death culture, do you think?
Well, there could be elements of that. I think that there are certainly elements of that within the culture, although some surveys would lead us to believe that most people really would not be in favor of things like abortion and euthanasia, except in extreme cases. But it's becoming more general in its application for convenience, for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, don't have time or the money.
And so the problem with that is that it kind of does devalue life.
Right.
And the other problem on a more practical level is that we're indicating or struggling with the potential of a declining population in the United States. This has happened in Europe and a number of other countries. When you get a decline in the population, there are real worldly problems that are caused too, physical, workforce, and a lot of other things. And so
you never know who the next Einstein would be.
No, that's exactly right. And so we have certainly religious convictions related to the value of life, but there are also even other practical considerations that would lead us to say this is not the best way to deal with some of the issues.
Overpopulation, you mean?
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to know about the aged. How are the elderly people here being treated in the United States? Is life from beginning to end? Some countries are starting to do euthanasia.
Some countries are, and we would believe, teach, and confess that life should conclude according to the schedule of the Creator.
Yeah.
And so we do have the opportunity to sustain life, and in some cases maybe it is extended artificially too far. But for the culture to decide the value of life, and that it should end at a certain age, or that it's no longer worth caring for, treating, embracing, loving, and sustaining, is a very, very slippery slope. And so euthanasia, which is practiced in a lot of places, is a place we don't want to go.
Reminds me of the Second World War, Hitler. What are the plans for the church, like next January?
Well, whenever January comes around, it's an opportunity for us to think and remember the Roe versus Wade. This is the 40th anniversary.
40th anniversary.
So 40 years of ending life in the womb is kind of a tragic anniversary. But we will be in Washington, D.C. as the Lutheran Church of Missouri Synod.
Right.
And we will be speaking to the issue. We will be giving witness to our Christian faith. We will be encouraging our pastors and our churches and our lay people to understand the sanctity of life. We will try to speak to power in terms of governmental agencies and leadership to encourage them to understand the beauty and the power and the precious gift of life. And so the Roe versus Wade tragic anniversary is an opportunity to be there. So we will be there in force with a number of other right-to-life groups who will be encouraging.
I'm going.
Good.
I hope. I'm trying to. But we're trying to go as a group. I'm with Lutherans for Life.
Yes.
And Allen County Right to Life.
Yes.
The reason why I got into the pro-life since I was a young lady, my aunt was an abortionist. And I was gung-ho against it ever since then. I was Roman Catholic, then I became Lutheran.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, when you look at the scriptures, and this is really the Epiphany season, that babe that was in Bethlehem, God's gift to us was also in a womb.
Yes.
Could have been destroyed in the womb, was not.
Right.
And during this Epiphany season, we see the beauty of life as it unfolds in Christ, the Savior.
Right.
And so the January timetable, this timetable, is a good opportunity for us to realize who the real giver of life is, the sustainer of life, the preciousness of life, and hopefully encourage us to see that tiniest little speck is already something wonderful in the making.
Yes, because from as soon as we are conceived up until the time we die, we are fully human.
True.
It's true. And proof of that is in the Bible. And with Jesus, when Mary went to see Elizabeth, and John
leapt in the tomb.
Leapt in the
womb, I mean.
In the womb.
Leapt in the womb because
was
Jesus was there.
So that is
right.
life. So how long are you president? Do you get reelected?
We serve 3-year terms.
3-year term?
So I'm in my just starting my 4th term.
All right.
And so I don't know how long God would have me do this, but I'm certainly
you're
enjoying
good.
it.
You're excellent.
Well, I strive to do my best, and so it's a wonderful opportunity. I mean, I spent many years in Lafayette in a congregation that I absolutely loved, but it was one congregation, and now I have the opportunity to be in lots of congregations that are so different and unique, and that's a delight. Also, the opportunity to encourage pastors, teachers, directors of Christian education, and others in their ministry is a real privilege that I enjoy.
What's your favorite spot that you ever been to as the president?
Oh, as the president?
You've been overseas.
Oh, yes. Well, that's an interesting question, Patty, because one of the most moving places that I've ever been is Madras, India.
India?
As I stood there, and we had to go to a telephone pole in order to be able to call back to this country. And so I wanted to call back to my wife, Judy. So I went across the street and was standing there amidst goats. That's right, goats. Little children asking for food and in mud, and the drama that was literally around me in that little setting. I called my wife and I said, "Hello, Judy, I love you," and I cannot talk because it was so moving to say, this is an unbelievable place for us to bring the Holy Gospel. But I've been to a lot of other places too.
Africa?
Oh, I've been to Africa. I've been to Nigeria.
The Holy Land.
And I've been to the Holy Land. I've been to the Baltic area. I've been to Guatemala. I've been a lot of places.
Talk to me about the Holy Land.
Oh, the Holy Land is a marvelous and moving place too. When you travel up that road to Jerusalem, and you realize this is the path that Jesus took. Lent is coming up shortly.
Yeah.
When he went to Jerusalem, going up to Jerusalem to give his life for us. It is dramatic to think this is what Jesus saw. This is the Via Dolorosa. This is the road that Jesus traveled. Here I am with my human feet walking on this same road.
Well, that must have been awesome.
So it was very dramatic. But you know, There are other beautiful places. Southern Indiana, which is a long way from the Holy Land, is a beautiful place too. And I enjoy being in Evansville and Louisville and Indianapolis and Gary, Indiana. And
You been to Kokomo?
oh, I've been to Kokomo. Everybody's got to go down
I know
to
a
Kokomo.
pastor who's works there.
You do?
Pastor Tom Ludwig.
Oh, yes.
You know him?
I know him very well.
Oh, my stars.
Know him very well. I was
friend of
in that circuit
Right.
when I was in Lafayette. The Lafayette and Kokomo circuits would oftentimes meet together. Pastor Ludwig was, actually it was before he was a pastor even, I knew him, and knew his predecessors in the congregation that he's serving. And so it was, there's just so many delightful places. And as someone said just a few moments ago before we went on the air, wherever you go, there is God, and there is God's people, and there is the opportunity to share the dynamic, powerful news of the gospel. And so, yes, India was very dramatic. Nigeria was very moving. The Baltic area is very interesting. The children of the dump in Guatemala are absolutely spellbinding. The march up the hill to Jerusalem is terrific.
What concerns me is Africa. The drought.
The drought in the Sudan and some of the other areas is very severe.
Right.
Africa remains a place of great need. Although, you know, Patty, Christianity is actually growing faster in Africa.
Because of what's happening to them, they put their more faith.
Because of that, you know, maybe they don't have as many diversions as we have in Western culture. Though people are very excited. When we were in Nigeria, in the morning, we did not wake up to the sounds of an alarm clock or a rooster, but of children marching to school singing hymns. And some of the large Lutheran schools there, the children, that's kind of their evangelism method. That the children are very involved, very engaged in sharing their faith with the rest of the people. And so the way they like to do that is sing. So you may have 20 or 30 kids walking along singing hymns to kind of wake up the community. Very interesting.
Do you find the Muslim influence heavy in Africa?
The further north you get in Nigeria and in some of the other African areas, yes. And the tensions that have existed with the Islamic community are sometimes very real and very severe. In fact, one of my very good friends in Nigeria had to leave Nigeria recently because of the violence that was going on.
Many innocent people are being killed.
Many innocent people. And that is tragic, very heart-rending. And yet, if you could have been in the bush country, as I was in Africa, the people have a very profound and yet simple faith. To live as Christ, to die as gain.
Right.
And of course, no one wants to be injured or killed.
Right.
And yet, they understand that Jesus is the resurrection and the life, and that because He lives, we too shall live.
They will live. That's right down to the crux of it.
Yes, it is. And so there's a joyous faith there. This culture to that culture is so far apart, but to see the profound, joyous, simple faith of those folks is very encouraging.
Do you find Christianity spreading quickly all over the world now?
It's spreading quickly in that
with the young people too.
1040 area of the world. In some of those African and equator type places along the equator, Christianity is spreading quickly. The biggest challenge is in the Western culture, Europe and the United States, which are much more secular and
We need
seemingly
Jesus more
growing more secular at this point. And sometimes we say, well, Christianity has so much resistance. You know, some of the times in history when the church has grown the greatest has been when it was oppressed. During the reign of Diocletian in the 5th century, which you probably haven't ever thought about or haven't thought about lately, the goal was to wipe out Christianity, and instead
we're
it
still
grew.
here. We're still
And it
here.
grew.
We're still
You
here.
know, the promise is even the gates of hell will not prevail against the church.
That's right. And with that note, would you believe the half hour is over?
It
There's
is.
a couple more minutes, and I just want to... oh, you're so sweet. I got to have you back on, sir.
Oh, I would love to come back.
Oh, yeah, we talked a lot about the church, and I like to, next time when you come on, the history of the Lutheran Church, how it started,
Oh, yes, very interesting.
the Reformation and
Martin
all
Luther,
that.
sure.
Martin Luther.
Reformation.
You will come back on?
Sure.
Oh.
And I said you should have my wife on sometime.
Yes, I will indeed.
She's much brighter than me. She doesn't say much, does it? No, but she's a very gifted
Poor
lady.
kid. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on my show. You've been quite an interesting person, an interesting guest, and you spoke the truth.
Well, thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here, and look forward to doing it again
Thank
sometime.
you, sir. This is Reverend Dr. Daniel P. May, President of the Indiana District of Lutheran Church, Missouri Synod. And this is Patty Hunter saying, listen, thank you for coming, and I'll see you next time. God bless everybody, and have a wonderful week. God bless. Bye-bye.